video, it's like to start by saying, once again, as a man thinking in his heart, so is the man. And above all else, guard the heart, because out of it flows the issues of life. How do we guard the heart? Consciousness, by the information that we receive. Once we perceive that the information is truthful in that certain situation, that statement, or those circumstances, it's downloaded into our subconscious mind, which is known as the heart, impacting our what? Imagination, our desires, and our will. Even though our emotions are crying out, warning us, giving us signs, signals, but in some cases, because we lack the knowledge or revelation of truth, I like to say, that we don't understand that those emotions are to protect us, and we allow it to be what? Dictators instead of indicators. We allow it to make our decisions, so therefore we behave differently, and we feel the physical reactions of those beliefs, that broken relationship. So I like to share a little story about a young lady named Marissa, which I used to teach in the group. And I'm gonna keep it short. I want to share her whole story. And it says that Marissa had been sexually abused by her father between the ages 6 and 14. So in her environment, family, father abused her between ages 6 and 14. So those life experiences, abuse. And it says at age what? 14, her parents divorced. So no longer she's being abused and or being put in an environment that is what I like to say is malfunctioning. And we could clap our hand and celebrate, yes, it is over with. But it says this, Marissa had already thought of herself negatively. She said, I decided I must be bad for my father to treat me like he did. So based on her life experiences, she developed a belief, consciously saying that it has to be a fault for her father to treat her like he did. And that was based on her what? Knowledge. Her perception, what she believed was true, that a father is supposed to what? Function like that. So she grabbed her first chance to leave the home and everything, and it says age 18, she got out and she married some guy, I think his name was Carr, and had a kid for him, and divorced him 2 years later, and then married another guy at the age of 23, I believe, something like that, I don't know. But married another guy and divorced him 2 years later. Why? Because both of these guys were what? Abusive. So this young lady experienced life experience, abused by her father, abused by her first husband, abused by her second husband. Now this young lady concluded an absolute belief, an absolute truth, that she's unlovable and life is not worth living. Based on what? 3 emotional, depressing experiences. Why? Because these men that was in her life was malfunctioning. They did not know their role as a man, and this lady was impacted by it because she was in that environment with a what? Lack of revelation of truth, how a man's supposed to function. Because she assumed if my dad treated me like this is how men's supposed to treat me. But guess who cried out? Those emotions. Emotions are indicators, signals, warning signs telling us to give attention to what we are thinking in that situation. Even though she wanted to be loved, those emotions telling her this is not love, even though she believed that's how a man's supposed to function. But still without revelation of truth, how a man's supposed to function, it led her into what? Depression. And so now she believes that she's unlovable, image, impacted by belief, and life is not worth living. So this lady had a few suicide attempts, can't manage her job, having trouble managing her emotions, all because she doesn't have revelation of truth. And nor without revelation of truth, she could understand her situation. So this lady is what? Wasting money on a therapist. I ain't gonna say wasting money, but it costs to not know the truth. It costs to not know who you are. Because we allow our life experiences to impact our image. And we see ourselves as unlovable or nobody off of just 3 experiences. This lady decided that she was unlovable and she believed life is not worth living because these men that was in her life treated her wrong. But this is not a valid, truthful statement, even based on her level of revelation, because she never dated every man in the world. But that was so strong within her that it impacted her life, and now she can't see reality no more because she lacks revelation truth, so therefore she can't understand her situation or apply wisdom to her situation. Even though those frustrations was coming from a desire within her, because she desired to be loved, but never experienced true love because of the abuse in her life. So she has what we call an internal battle right now. I want to be loved, but I'm afraid to be loved because I'm just going to get hurt anyway. So why should I live in a world that's going to hurt me anyway? This is her belief. But what if Marissa knew that she was made in the image of God? That she come from the Spirit of God? That she has or could have the Spirit of God within her spirit, what makes her spirit alive. So therefore, when she get into situations, she can understand that a man is not supposed to treat anyone like he does. That a man's supposed to be a what? Protector, a sustainer, the founder that upholds the family, a teacher, a cultivator, being able to bring out the best in her. So if she would have known this revelation of truth about a man, therefore when these things would happen, she would never accepted that belief that this is how a man's supposed to treat you. She would never got to the point that life is not worth living. And she would got to that point before she allowed her heart to get involved with these type of men, that she would have cut the relationship off, because she know that is not how a man's supposed to function. And it just hit me. But the identify is to understand that you have to have revelation of truth to know how something is supposed to function. And when you identify is supposed to function, and you know this is how a person is supposed to function, then you're going to automatically draw close to it, and you're going to have what? Peace in that situation. But when you don't understand or have any revelation of truth of how a relationship is supposed to be, therefore you setting yourself up to failure. So that's why revelation of truth helps us to understand and help us to apply wisdom.